Hello, welcome to Spain Poco Poco. Good day, Tanya. Buenos dias.
Good day. Are we feeling old English today?
Cheerio, chim
Cheerio.
chimmery. See.
Well, today we are going to talk about the Palacio Real de Madrid, otherwise known as, and forthwith, the Royal Palace of Madrid. We will just be using that name, I think. Correct?
Yes,
Just to
that sounds
keep.
good. Yeah, let's we will entreat you with a little chopped up butchered Spanish, but we will try to use the English
We shall carry
names.
on.
Right.
There we go. And this is if anyone's been to Madrid, I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, obviously you can find pictures online. It's a beautifully large, spectacular building, and it is considered an architectural masterpiece and a symbol of Spain's rich history and cultural heritage. Which, funnily enough, I found out that this building was kind of designed over the sketches of the Louvre in Paris. So not a total original. I mean, it is a total original, but if you put those two things together, you can completely see how they are alike.
You can, except that it doesn't have like those Parisian
Yeah.
mansard roofs,
Right,
right?
but that's pretty
But
much it.
these royal families,
That's
I don't want to
true.
knock them, but they were all copying each other's
Yeah.
palaces. Do you know what I
And you
mean?
had I don't know how many people were building these gigantic things back then either. So, I mean, both buildings absolutely spectacular. So, no reason not to copy a great thing. And it is the official residence of the Spanish royal family, although mostly used for state ceremonies and things like that. And they have another palace that they prefer to actually consider their home, which is called the Palace
Right.
of Zazuela. And that's on the outskirts of Madrid. So very close. They could pop in for a state ceremony and pop right out again.
Pat right into their private little home that no one gets to go and see, right?
Exactly. I think that's
Now, wait, I don't know.
maybe.
Maybe they do have tours of that one too. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, and actually, I will say we
But
did not do the tour. So we didn't even try. And what about you?
well, I have an Ospain moment for this. So we waited in the line to do the tour, and as we got to the velvet rope, and like we weren't planning, we stumbled upon the palace, and we were like, "Oh, there it is. There's a queue. Let's get in it. We'll do it." And right when we got to the front of the queue, they closed the velvet rope, and they said, "We're closed," and we were like, "Of course you are. Of
Yeah.
course."
So plan ahead. Little PSA here: if you want to, you can buy tickets online. Do so. And I found this to be the case for almost everything. I mean,
Right.
there's really, I think you can almost plan ahead, or take a look at when it's a real downtime that you really can go without waiting in line.
Right. And I hadn't thought about that. So I mean, the reality is why we're standing in line, I could probably even look to see if they had
Probably.
tickets for sale right
Yeah,
then and there,
that's
right?
true. So the interesting thing about this building was that in 1734 there was a fire that burnt down the original Alcazar of Madrid that was there. So that was a
Mhm.
big, palace that was completely burnt down in 1734, and in the process of that burning down, a lot of works of art were like thrown out of the windows, which I thought
Right.
is horrifying. But they
Wait,
wouldn't be
wait,
around if they hadn't. So
right, but it's also horrifying because these palaces don't have small painting. It's not like they're checking
no,
some 8x10s. Like these things are like 10 feet by 20 feet. Like these things are huge. So how do they
right?
survive the fallout? I mean, I don't know what the old palace looked like. It was before my time, but I'm assuming
Was it
the
really
windows
though?
weren't necessarily low to the ground, right?
Well, also
Yeah.
I have to imagine if it's a palace, it's a fortress in those days.
Right.
So the windows would have been high up as well.
High up and probably
Yeah,
small, not these
tiny.
gorgeous ones they
Well,
have
so they were
now,
lucky
right?
they could get the paintings out of the windows, I guess. So anyway, so the construction of this palace was from 1738 to 1755. A little bit after that.
Right.
It's not long.
Which, when we are talking about other buildings, and as you tour Europe, some of these buildings take hundreds of years.
Hmm.
So it's amazing that they got it done in such a short amount of time,
They
right?
really did, yeah. And there weren't a few architects. There were
Right.
many.
Right. There was a couple. I mean, people are old. You have to be old to get the commission,
Hmm.
and then you probably die off, and they got to replace you, and then someone's got to make some changes to put
Yeah.
their stamp on the property. Do you want to list the names of some of the
You're gonna
people
make
that
me
were
do it?
involved
Okay,
in?
so it was it was following a Berninesque design by Filippo Hurvara and Giovanni Battista Sacchetti in cooperation with Ventura Rodriguez, Francesco Sabatini, and Martin Sarmiento. There we go.
You did
I think I
good.
did
I'm
okay
not
there.
gonna. Yeah.
And so, like you just said, I mean, and I've seen a pattern of this a little bit where, you know, somebody starts it, the next person has to do it. So the fact that they got it done between 1738 and 1755 is, I think, incredibly impressive because
Hmm.
it's not a small
And
amount of
during
rooms.
no, it's not. We'll get to that. But during the Second Spanish Republic, you know,
Hmm.
when they had no king and queen, the building was known as the Palacio
Well, it
Nacional.
makes sense. Yeah.
See,
There
right?
we go.
and and right now, since we said about the size and scale, there are 3,418
Hmm.
rooms and over 135,000 square meters. That's not square feet, ladies and gentlemen. That is square
Square
meters.
meters of
So
floor space.
a
Yeah.
square meter is like 10 square feet. So you know
Hmm.
you're
Very
right. So
large. Yes,
very
making it the
large.
largest royal palace in Europe by floor area. So, I mean,
Right.
I think I don't know what it's like to live in a royal palace. But you know,
You don't?
now,
I
but then
do. So
as we go through, you'll see. I mean, we're going to take you through some of the rooms that you can see on a tour, and I have to imagine, no matter how royal you are, you're not using that many rooms. I mean, that is for all your servants. It's for state events. It's big dining halls, and you probably only have a few that you're actually living in because you can't live in that many rooms. That's not even possible.
well, I'm sure a lot of those rooms are for the ladies in waiting
Hmm.
and the, whatever the dukes and duchesses, all those kind
Everybody's
of
living there,
supportive
right?
staff. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And they have a fantastic art collection, obviously. I think that could be expected. Goya,
Hmm.
Velasquez, Caravaggio, and I'm sure many, many, many more. And also
Right.
included they have gardens and beautiful views from the windows and the Stradivarius collection, which I was surprised to read.
Yes, and it houses the world's only complete Stradivarius string quintet, which is that's not the people that play the instruments, that's the actual instruments. And
I would
so
kind of want them played. I don't know that I would. I mean, I would appreciate looking at them, but not as somebody I'm not very musical. I think I would appreciate them actually being played. So I would like to see that quintet actually being played. That would be beautiful. But they're probably not allowed to do that.
and in it, it's two violins, a viola, a cello, and then a non-decorated cello. So I haven't seen these, so I don't know what the difference between the cello and non-decorated is. But
I have no
you know,
idea.
I have no idea. But I mean, I know Stradivarius means they're expensive. That's what I know.
I
That's all I know
also know
about.
that. Yes, I have never would never try and play one. So I'm sure that'll be very impressive. There's a place called the Mirador de la Cornisa, which is an observation deck, gives you beautiful views of Madrid. So I think just that
Hmm.
is probably not on top of all the everything you get to see inside. I think that would be absolutely gorgeous to see Madrid from that view. I think.
That is beautiful because that's part I did
Oh, you
see.
did.
So
Okay, well, so you've done it basically. No need to go back.
well, so we talk about the architectural design
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
style. So we have discussed that it was a Bernini-esque. So it combines this Baroque and neoclassical elements, which Bernini was kind of known. Those were his sketches for the Louvre, so they kind of used
Hmm.
those. As we had said, it doesn't have the mansard roofs, but it does have that kind of like U-shaped from the front
Hmm.
view that is similar to that. We did talk about the key architects being Filippo Povera, who did the initial Baroque design, and then came Juan Bautista Sacchetti, who continued the construction after Povera's
Hmm.
death, followed by Francesco Sabatini, and he added the neoclassical features, including the southeast wing and the grand staircase.
Lovely. Yeah. And then we have the exterior features, which is the iconic columns, the Tuscan pilasters, and also it is adorned with statues of saints and kings. And that gets into the nitty gritty, the details that are
Hmm.
spectacular. But if you are looking at the outside, you can definitely see all the details that are added on top of all the architectural elements that you've already described. And then of course inside we
Right.
have the of course lavish rooms which have frescoes and these painted ceilings and painted walls and all this stuff. You start to see a pattern with some of the the churches that we've talked about in our other Poco. Our Pocos
Right.
where you're just
You mean the minimalism of
yes,
the era? Haha.
exactly. It's overwhelming, let's say. Not sure I'd want to live in it, but it's definitely amazing to see. So, I mean, if let's go through some of the rooms.
So you have the throne room, which has got these red velvet
Of course, it
thrones.
does.
Of course it does. And it has the Tiepolo frescoes and ornate chandeliers. This dates back from Charles III from in 1772. So and there's also bronze sculptures that include the four cardinal virtues and four of the seven planets.
Mm-hmm.
Saturn Germanicus and four Medici lions flanking the dual throne. So again, minimal, very austere.
I was going to say that I feel like my house is missing a throne room, but I think what it's really missing is the royal armory. I mean, can you imagine having one of those in your house?
I mean, that will definitely make when you have a suitor coming over for your daughter in years to come, make them think twice about.
Well, Jawad will be going out right now to build a royal armory in the house. So we have, I mean, this room particularly, I think, is the one that is really designed more like a museum where they have like different sort of collections of armor and weapons, and they date back to the 13th century, and you can really go through and they've got a little description and everything about what everything is, which I think that's a very interesting room. And it's got these beautiful red walls and wooden ceilings. This one isn't as ornate of a room as the other ones, but the I think it's very interesting, all the elements that they have in there for you to see. So I would definitely worth stopping by.
Right. And it does highlight the armor and all those things that you're like, how do they even fight in that kind of in those get-ups?
And they've got the whole thing. They've got the horse armor, the human armor, and everything all set up, and it looks really cool.
And then we have the Royal Chapel, which is where they have the Stradivarius quintet that we had talked about. And again, this is a very austere room with arches and gilding and marble columns and all the gilding that you could want to.
Absolutely. And then beautiful custom carpets and all of that. So very ornate. And then the Royal Pharmacy, which we had a little one of these in Alexandria where we lived in Virginia. It was a little museum, and it was a very, very old little pharmacy, and it was really cute. Okay. It was not as gilded as this.
No,
but sure I do love those things, and they've got all the little drawers, and it's very ornate, but also I think quite fascinating to see kind of how things worked back then as well.
Right. And they've got all those apothecary jars, those big pottery things and stuff. I will say that, it's what I love about here is you go into the pharmacies here and you see all the pharmacies I've been to have at least a few of these kind of, I'm sure they're not real, but the pseudo vintage, these copies of vintage or apothecary jars, and they got the old names on them. And I think that's so cool. Yeah.
Hint of the past.
Right.
And then there is the Gasparini room, which is, I believe, this is an 18th century floral themed room, which I think we've decided was a private sitting room that they had used.
Right.
So very ornate and beautiful, and a slightly smaller room-ish.
Well, I think this was I think these palaces are set up where they have the royal families have their own apartments in it, right? So I think this was the king's royal, their private.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then we move out to the gardens, which you can visit without the ticket. So you may have done that too, right?
Right. Well, we looked down upon them. We were not in the mood to walk down to them, but it is nice that they are not part of the tour, that those are just public gardens now for the city.
Yeah, that's a huge bonus. You can just go visit those without getting a ticket into the palace. So you have the Sabatini Gardens, which is named after the Italian architect Francesco Sabatini, but it was not designed by him. And I couldn't for the life of me find out who designed these gardens, but just named after him. And obviously he did a lot of work for the Spanish royal family, so they named a garden after him, so why not? And this is a neoclassical style garden in the French style landscaping.
and it was open to the public. It wasn't open to the public the whole
Oh,
time
true.
during
Yeah.
Franco's era, but it was open when the royal family was reinstated.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a word for that. By King Juan Carlos I in 1978.
Yes, and it was designed in 1933. So a beautiful, definitely worth going. And then you have the Campo de Moro Gardens, which are also designed in the 19th century under the rule of Queen Maria Cristina. These are the British gardens.
What? Yes, the English style. Yes,
English style.
which is known for following the romanticism of nature, right?
Yeah.
And they do echo the design again, copying the echo of the design of the gardens of Versailles. Not as large. I've been to Versailles, and those gardens are like millions of acres.
Absolutely enormous. These were declared an artistic historic monument in 1931. And also they are called the Campo del Moro Gardens apparently because of a historic event that occurred in 1109 when the Muslim leader Ali ibn Yusuf attempted to reconquer Madrid following the death of King Alfonso VI, and they were camped in this area. So it just kind of created the name, and it's just never got changed.
Okay, sounds
Why
good.
not?
Well, I think that wraps up our tour. We should probably give some useful information to people who want to
as
go
opposed
visit.
to the other information that wasn't useful at all.
Right, well, I mean, well, that useful information is if you didn't want to visit, you just want to pretend that you saw it in your mind.
Okay,
right?
useful information. Go ahead.
So the opening hours, they are different during the winter and the summers and the weekends, but it does open every day year round at 10 a.m. So it usually close at probably 6 or 8, depending on the season. But it is always closed January 1st, January 6th, May 1st, and December 25th.
That's not much, is it?
Do you want to tell them how much they have to pull out of their wallets to get in?
Standard admission is 14 euros, but they do have some reduced ones for 7 euros for kids and students and seniors. And I'm sure these prices will change, but that's kind of what it is at this particular moment. And you can get a guided tour for about 20 euros, maybe between 13 and 20, depending on where you look. And again, book online, I suppose, if you can.
Right.
It probably does. It may cost more. You might be doing it through a company, but it is possible.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would say I always recommend people to do it directly through the museum's websites, because a lot of these museums do have audio guides and they have their own guides there now as well. But yes, you want to book online, and it's also free every Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7 if you're an EU citizen or have an EU work permit, that's
good to know. Yeah. And then they have the changing of the guard. So this is kind of fun. I mean, you can do this at Buckingham Palace and probably many other palaces. They have the regular changing of the guard, which is on Wednesdays and Saturdays, weather permitting. So keep an eye on that. And then they have the solemn changing of the guard, which takes place on the first Wednesday of every month at noon, except for January, August, and September, because they have state events on those months. So that's really exciting, because that is with 400 soldiers, 100 horses, and it's like a 50-minute-ish event. So I'm up for that one, and I want to go.
Oh, I think you and I should plan a first Wednesday of the month and go up and see that.
I think that's it. I think that covers the Royal Palace of Madrid, and I hope we've enticed a few people to go visit. Catch you later.
Adios.
Thank you for listening to Our Spain Poco a Poco. Since you love us so much, please do go on to our social media and follow us and like us and subscribe where you're listening, because it really does help us to grow and stick around and do what we are very much enjoying doing.
And, give us a shout out on the social medias. Give us a comment on what you would like to hear us talk about. I mean, we like to hear ourselves speak, but we do want to make this, informative for our listeners.
Absolutely, yeah. You can comment on one of our posts, or you can send us a message through our Spain Facebook page or Instagram. So we would love to hear from you.
Yes, we would. Till the next episode.
Bye.